Welcome to All Souls Church. My name is George Goss, and I'm this week's service assistant. A few things on etiquette. We keep everyone on mute for the service except for the time of our sharing joys and concerns. If you're new to All Souls Church, please take a moment to click the link in the order of service and chat or connection card so we can stay in touch. It's up to you if you want to turn your camera on and be seen. We do record the service. The joys and concerns won't be in the final recording. Please feel to chat in the chat box or to ignore it. During the service, feel free to get up, move around, take a break from the screen as you need to try to be as present as possible. Imagine we were all in the same room together. And finally, remember that you are invited to sing or pray, share or chat. How you participate or don't is up to you. After church, we have some time to say hello in the breakout rooms. Now hear these words of welcome. All who enter in a spirit of curiosity, love, and justice are welcome this morning. Welcome to people who love God, people who don't believe in God, and people who live in the not knowing. People who find a higher purpose deep inside, people who find it in relationship with one another, and people who find it in the interdependence of all existence and all the people in between. Whoever you are, whatever your gifts or abilities may be, however you identify your gender or sexual orientation, whatever your life and faith journeys has taken you, we are welcome here. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you understand the sacred, you bless us with your presence. Thank you. We light our flaming chalice of the words from Tess Baumberger. We invite you to respond to this call to worship with the words, "We travel this road together."
From the busyness of every day, we gather once a week to remember who we are, to dream of who we might become.
We travel this road together.
As companions on this journey, we share the milestones we meet along the way. Individual moments of joy and sorrow become shared moments of comfort and celebration.
We travel this road together.
We share this journey across differences of belief and opinion because we value diversity and because we care for one another.
We travel this road together.
Today, as we take the next steps, let us notice our fellow travelers, the burdens that they carry, the songs that inspire their hearts.
We travel this road together.
As we gather in beloved community, let us open the holy havens of our hearts. Let us share the sacred places of our souls, for we are pilgrims who share a common path.
We travel this road together. We will follow the tradition of All Souls lighting a candle. Symbolic of our commitment to having a green sanctuary, both these flames call us to kinship with great care for the earth and her loving creatures. So we light both the chalice and the green candle, the symbols of the light. As we center our hearts, let us sing our chalice song for April. We kindle this light.
We kindle this light in celebration for the life that we share. We kindle this light in celebration for the life that we share.
Hello, good morning. I am Diane Doucette, and I coordinate All Souls Spiritual Writing Group. We thank you for the opportunity to host this morning's service. The writing group members write each month on a selected subject that supports a wide range of choices for their interpretation. We have written about unforgettable people, equality, thresholds of life, the pandemic, election day, scars, friendship, reincarnation, and we have written poetry. Why do we write? What brings us to fill the empty space or screen? There are many answers. We write to share what is within us, to be explicit, to be understood, or to have others feel as we do. We write to share. We write about what makes us laugh. We write and we call out. We write about what we call out or what we gather from our memories. Our writing has brought us to reflect upon our lives and ways of seeing the world. It has opened doors for us. Sometimes we research a topic and write about it, but we have learned to share knowledge with the group. And today, some of our members will read their writings. Now, let us join in singing our opening hymn, number 347, Gather in Spirit.
Separate fires will kindle on flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding once more. Gather in peace, strength, sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
I sure am proud of my many physical, emotional, and spiritual scars, because they have made me a winning wellness warrior. That is to say, I overcome my obstacles well, and now trust my own thinking. I enjoy sharing stories about my 3 physical scars, especially during the summertime, when somebody inquires about my smiley face scar on my left kneecap. This scar reminds me of the fun times I had as a Girl Scout counselor. I play hard and remember diving for a camper and landing on a rock while playing capture the flag. I could have shattered my kneecap, but I didn't. My other physical scars remind me how I could have seriously damaged my right eyeball. And best of all, how lucky was I that I only had to have a lumpectomy and have a few scars on my left breast. My numerous emotional scars also remind me how blessed I am. Being a hardworking, faith-filled, single, disabled, white woman of privilege, and a survivor of multiple head insults, I have benefited from extensive therapeutic supports and now see my emotional scars as blessings. They have led me to my healing professions as a pediatric occupational therapist, and most recently, my independent contract job offering meditation and mindfulness coaching. When I think about the blessings of COVID-19, I am grateful for the many emotional scars which have been healed within my family. Due to technology, but more importantly, the good old-fashioned telephone, I now have a closer relationship with my sisters, my brothers, my sisters and brothers-in-laws, and many nieces and nephews, but especially my brilliant, sensitive, disabled nephew, Greg. He, of all, is the most aware of my lonely feelings and makes me smile with a phone call or by sharing photos of himself fishing. And of course, we love to share pictures of our beloved dogs. By far, the scars I cherish the most are my spiritual scars, as they have led me to accomplish a goal I have longed for a very, very, very long time, which is to say, I have and now am able to sustain meaningful, trusting friendships with sensitive, respectful hearts, many being from All Souls Braintree Church. I have finally found like-minded, intelligent souls and a community where I feel I belong. People there seem to appreciate my talents and give me positive feedback, which I can now consistently accept with a simple thank you. Through my participation in the many intimate groups at All Souls Braintree Church, I have established relationships with several close friends with whom I feel comfortable to call on for honest feedback and support. It seems several people in my church community tolerate my free spirit, my enthusiasm, my intensity, and sometimes my loud voice. For at times, I just can't control my joy when I sing in the choir or when I get excited about something. The enriching inspiration I gain from these authentic Unitarian Universalist friends with whom I share values, interests, and lots of laughs supports my growth immensely. Having had several brilliant, caring ministers with whom sincerely care about my evolution makes me feel tremendously loved. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and influence toward the Unitarian Universalist philosophical beliefs of inclusion, forgiveness, and open-heartedness helps me frequently keep my emotional scars in perspective. I am often reminded of their deep, troubling injustices and the multitude of physical, emotional, and spiritual scars Indigenous people and people of color have endured, making mine seem like nothing in comparison. We are all one. Thank you.
As a spiritual community, we journey together through life's ups and downs, hold each other in love. We take this time to reflect on our week, recall the milestones, the joys, the concerns, the sorrows or changes in our lives, and those in need of healing. If you have a heartfelt milestone, joy, or sorrow you'd like to share, you're invited to share aloud or in the chat. If you'd like to share, you can come off mute, again by pressing the mute, unmute in the lower left corner of your screen, or pressing *6 if you're calling in. Please share your name and briefly express what's on your heart. If you have trouble unmuting, give us a wave and we'll try to unmute you from this end. After each person shares, we'll drop a stone in water, symbolic of the water gathered and blessed in this year's water ceremony. Please note this section won't end up in the final recording. What's shared now is only here in real time. All are welcome to share now. For all the sorrows and all the joys spoken aloud and held quietly in our hearts, we drop one final stone. Join us in singing our centering hymn, I Know This Rose Will Open.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will
I invite you to join in a time of meditation and prayer. First in words, then in silence, then in melody. Our words of meditation today are from Tim Haley. Amid all the noise in our lives, we take this moment to sit in silence, to give thanks for another day, to give thanks for all those in our lives who have brought us warmth and love, to give thanks for the gift of life. We know we are on our pilgrimage here, but a brief moment in time. Let us open ourselves here now to the process of becoming more whole, of living more fully, of giving and forgiving more freely, of understanding more completely the meaning of our lives here on earth. Let us be together in shared silence.
I'm Kellie. Our topic was names and naming, and this paragraph is what guided me. Names are powerful things. They act as an identity marker and a kind of map, locating you in time and geography. More than that, they can be a compass, by Nicola Yoon. Say my name. I'm named for two female relatives we called Aunt Margaret and Auntie Kellie. Margaret was my father's mother's sister. I met her as a child, yet I knew little about her apart from the saintly tales that were told and the sound of how much my grandma missed Margaret every day. Aunt Margaret was always spoken in low tones, serious and protected. I later learned that she was a feeble-minded person, or as we might flippantly say today, she was crazy. I shared a birthday with Auntie Kellie, my mother's aunt by marriage, and whose name was really Evelyn. She was present in my life more frequently than Margaret. Her influence upon me came solely in the way in which she responded during our written exchange of birthday greetings during my early years. She would use the same form of greeting she had received from the 5, 6, or 7-year-old child that was me. It felt at first friendly, but later I found it mockingly odd and patronizing and impossibly unemotional. And what does this matter? I was named for these two women and for many years carried the self-imposed burden of being an extension of their lives, of their meaning, as if within the limited space of this world, we three should be enveloped in each other's shadows. Was my existence to be based upon these assignments of character, of fate, of development based upon their names? Was I destined or doomed to be like them? And in what ways? Was I responsible for the future embodiment of their spirits? God, I failed. Guided by need and led by determination, fed by the hope that there must be something more, Kellie came to mean independent spirit. It was in kindergarten when my need to self-identify began. My name was never called during roll, and my teacher was confused. She found me listed as Margaret and explained to me that Margaret was my real name. I said that wasn't me. My name is Kellie. And yes, though she named me Margaret Kellie, my mother only ever called me Kellie. Yes, I would repeatedly explain, Kellie is my real name, my given name, my birth name, my legal name. Kellie is the name on my birth certificate. I don't even know who Margaret is. Informing my first teachers of what I would and would not answer to, of how to address me, became my earliest lesson in claiming my identity. I've become well practiced over the years. But it's just a name. Why do I care so much? Because it's my name, it's my framework. 6 letters in which I've planted my roots, tended my own growth, pulled my own weeds. Kellie is the outline within which I store myself. Kellie. Say my name and cast a spell that both calls me back to grounding and releases me to the winds. That which anchors me to this plane of reality, the spell that illuminates my moral code and my values, conjures my existence. Kellie draws the rigid border of the box in which I exist and frees me to the limitless expanse of the heavens. Kellie is the safety net into which I fall. Kellie is my fearlessness. Say my name.
We have a call to offering. A religious community is like a river formed from the many streams of our lives that meet and merge and flow to the sea. As members and friends of this religious community, we share our time and energy, our creativity, imagination, and vision, our talents, skills, and gifts, and the streams our individual lives to create a river that is both deep and broad. A river that is made of many streams, sustains life, and refreshes the land through which it flows. But the river of this community also depends on our shared financial support and makes real our shared values and vision. We now receive an offering for the support of this religious community and its work in the world. You can give online at the link in the order of service and in the chat. You can have a meditative moment of writing out a check later on today and mailing it to the church. You're invited to give generously and joyfully as you are willing and able. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Marge, and the title of my reading this morning is Slippers in the Snow. At 6 o'clock on a Thursday morning, rubbish pickup day, I spotted a bag of rubbish. So I decided to just run out the front door and place it in the barrel. I closed the door behind me, forgetting it would automatically slam shut. Oh well, I was just snuggled up in the heavy blanket Tom kept in the back seat of the car. But the car doors were iced in. I couldn't open them. Maybe I could go to my neighbors and phone my home, let them know about my predicament. But there were no lights on in any of their homes. It was a snowy, blowy, bone-chilling day. Well, guess I will have to trudge through the deepening snow and hope the back door is open. Alas, I lost my slippers in the snow and my toes were turning red. Luckily, I found 2 pink face cloths on the clothesline. So I walked again through the snow, and wrapped my numb feet. Yes, the face cloth was frozen and offered me no warmth. My back door was locked. Visions of George Washington's poorly clad army at Valley Forge in freezing winter days, their feet wrapped in rags, as Congress at that time refused Washington's request for proper food and clothing. Well, I was historic anyway. Would Tom and Tommy even notice I'm missing? Would they find me near death from hypothermia? As luck had it, I found a long piece of a wet mop staff, and I rapped on Tommy's bedroom window. He looked at it in astonishment and rushed to let me in. Ma, he cried, what the heck are you doing out in the snow? I will tell you, but first, just let me thaw out. I did thaw out, no damage done, and poured myself a steaming hot cup of coffee. Lesson learned. Always check doors when venturing out and make sure they are unlocked.
The name of my piece is Clara. It's about a girl I worked with when I was very young. When I was 16, I had an after-school job at a Boston hospital, a place where life was fragile and serious. I worked with Clara, a Black high school girl. We worked under the direction of the dietitian for patient food services. Our jobs were remarkably entry level, but we had titles. I was a kitchen aide. Clara was a kitchen maid. We either ignored or were unaware of job status titles. We were glad, so young, to just have jobs. We were teenagers and got along well in that place. We had so much to talk about. We shared our secrets, loves, dislikes, and plans. She sang in her church choir and brought her singing to work smiling. She made everyone smile too. Our work hours passed quickly as we gabbed, sang, and danced around the kitchen laughing sometimes. Then the great depth of racial inequality was revealed when a newly created position of dietitian assistant became available. Clara and I liked the idea. The dietitian assistant would have a small desk in the office next to a long windows overlooking a garden. So classy compared to the old kitchen. Clara, with a year's seniority over me, expected the new job and was happy. I expected she would be promoted too. That week, when I was sent to see the dietitian in charge, I feared I had neglected something. In the office, she told me I was promoted to dietitian assistant. I was shocked but elated. Then reality set in. I remembered Clara. I boldly pointed out for that time when resistance or oppression was not something that you pointed out, that Clara had seniority and we thought the job would go to her. No, said the dietitian, I want you to have it. I went back to the kitchen and told Clara. She was devastated. She slammed down a stack of trays, tore off her apron, threw it and yelled, I am leaving. She ran out wiping her eyes and shoved the door so hard it hit the wall. Guilt set in for me. I went back to the dietitian's office and said, Clara should get the job because she has seniority. Without raising her head, she said, "Nope, the paperwork is done," and she waved me off. I was pretty sure of some things. I knew paperwork could be changed, and that paperwork was an awfully insulting excuse, as though paperwork was more important than another human being. And I knew Clara was denied the promotion because she was Black. I caught up with Clara in the locker room before she left. I wanted her to know that I had spoken up for her. I told her everything I had said about the paperwork excuse. Clara eyed me with skepticism. She may not have believed me. I felt overwhelmed with guilt for a moment. It occurred to me that I could prove my support for her by quitting right now. But it was only a brain response to relieve the stress, an idea that never came to fruition. I didn't have the motivation to take a bold stand. It was long before the days of acceptable protest of any kind of unfairness. What I said instead was, "I wish you would not leave, Clara," because my response was that I would miss her friendship. At 16, she knew so much better. She smirked and firmly shut her locker. She gave me one last look that I will never forget. It was all in her look, her world of racist exclusion and mine of advantage. She walked away. I stood there. Clara was gone. Then, in truth, I felt great relief. A burden had been lifted. I was released from the responsibility of action. Clara was gone. It was over. But it was not over. I did not want the job that should have been Clara's. I left after a few weeks due to the weight of regret I felt for not leaving the day that Clara did. We were so young. Today I recognize that Clara suffered a spirit-killing defeat at such a young age. I do not blame her if she judges harshly today. And I learned young that a system of inequality harms us all. I never saw Clara again, but not a year passes when I don't wish I knew how she made out in life. I like to think she was able to achieve her potential in this world.
Scars, written and performed by Alicia Jaromin. The scars of our past drive us into becoming, not as we started, ever far from our journey's end. Never perfect, never knowing. Youth spars with a ready opponent. The gnashing of broken earth, ragged fissures erupting in our crust. Molten lava burning, spewing, building upon the arching crimson. Knowing those lines will be torn anew, we choose what to carve. To build our own refuge, a solitary sanctuary. From the horror of failure as we design the self that is ours. That molten mess of our larval stage congeals at long last. Cinching and tugging, pain makes us ever more aware. Now solid, still tender, hardened and not timid, we rise, shattering that outer barrier, becoming what they cannot ignore. For the purpose of wings was always to soar. When I was about 8 years old, my family went to Attitash in New Hampshire during the summer or maybe fall to ride the Alpine slide. At the top of the mountain, I looked down. I was a little scared, but I was going to be brave. I had just made the age cutoff. My mom went first, so she would be at the bottom waiting for me. I was to go next, and my stepdad, John, would go behind me. I got on the sled and off I went. On the first few turns, I was having a lovely time, going as fast as I possibly could and squealing with delight. Then I hit a hard turn and I did not slow down as I had been instructed to do. My cart flipped around and landed me straight on my knee, and I skid down the next 10 feet or so of the concrete slide. Now bloody and screaming, I was on the middle of the track with no one around me and no way to get down. Somehow my stepdad was able to stop his sled and get me back onto the course to head toward the bottom. I don't remember much more than that of the story, but I do have a few residual scars that I still carry today from that one simple experience that happened now nearly 40 years ago. On my left knee is the physical scar, now faded and barely noticeable. But the most pervasive scars from that day are not physical. I still have issues with going too fast, with trying new things, with not holding the brake, with not having control, with letting go. I have the worst anxiety on water rides with open tracks. Sure, each time my raft will go up and over the edge. Such a silly thing to have one little moment, one insignificant event make such an impact. The human mind is a wondrous thing. The very process of firing synapses and storing of data that led us from caves and hunting to smart homes and microwaves also causes our heads at times to replay all the little moments in an effort to make our species even better and ever more able to survive. We have at times crippled ourselves over fear and uncertainty, even to the point of self-sabotage. How do we clear out the mindless chatter that disables us? How do we know what little voices keep us from harm and which cause us harm? And where is the wisdom to know the difference? The scars of our past drive us into becoming, not as we started, ever far from our journey's end. Never perfect, never knowing, youth spars with a ready opponent. The gnashing of broken earth, ragged fissures erupting in our crust, molten lava burning, spewing, building upon the arching crimson. Knowing these lines will be torn anew, we choose what to carve. To build our own refuge, a solitary sanctuary. From the horror of failure as we design the self that is ours. That molten mess of our larval stage congeals at long last. Cinching and tugging, the pain makes us ever more aware. Now solid, still tender, hardened but not timid, we rise, shattering that outer barrier, becoming what they cannot ignore. For the purpose of wings was always to soar.
It commenced with a slit heel inflicted by a jagged beach bottle. Subject to primitive domestic healing practices imposed by the reigning matriarch, I and my wounded Achilles were consigned to a ridiculously sedentary existence that sweaty August of 1956. Thus was I unwittingly mesmerized by gavel-to-gavel coverage of Chicago's Democratic National Convention. The minutiae of American politics infused a surge of desire to elect Senator Jack Kennedy as our vice presidential nominee. His competitor, Tennessee's Senator Estes Kefauver, was pursued by prepubescent moi as an interloper in desperate need of being vanquished. The roar of the crowd, the roll calls, the campaign ballads, everything but the cigar smoke, was permanently imprinted onto my juvenile noggin. Ever since that serendipitous launching, politics has been inextricably bound to my lifeblood. Over the intervening 84 campaigns, victory has interspersed with defeat. Smitten with the Kennedy clan, I was a veritable acolyte to Jack, Bobby, and Ted. Both assassinations lacerated my psyche. A handful of iconic figures retain their semi-exalted status. Adlai Stevenson, Shirley Chisholm, Paul Simon, Pat Schroeder, and Mario Cuomo have made the eternal cut. More recent candidates for veneration have been Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. I do anticipate periodic additions to this roster. Quintessential, albeit elusive thrill of victory transcends the ignominy of defeat. Each time a clarion call reignites my lust for yet another righteous battle, I shall most happily surrender for conscription.
Hi, my name is Mary Mitchell, and in my piece, I tried to have some fun on the topic of the upcoming election, focusing on the voting experience itself rather than the dire politics that were before us in late October of 2020. This structure of red brick and cinder block had once been a home to me and my flock. Inside the doors, a table is laid with cookies, brownies, and breads homemade. Strange PTO moms say hello with a smile. I survey the goods, promise in a while. Head down the hall to the dimly lit gym, two serious faces looking grim, two big books on the table before them, two signs proclaim N to Z, A to M. I walk to the ladder, give my street name and number, give her my name, she's earnest and somber. She finds me, makes note, and hands me a ballot. I walk to a booth, grab a pen, and get at it. Carefully filling the ovals with ink, for a few of the races, I must stop and think. I don't always know who's running down ballot. There's always at least one surprise, dagnabbit. Finishing up, I approach the next table, there recognizing my old neighbor, Mabel. She checks me off, and I'm at the next sector to feed my vote to the ballot collector. At this machine is a man I recall I used to work for, this school principal. We chat for a bit as my ballot is fed. We say our goodbyes, down the hallway I head. Back to the goodies, I pick some of each, hand them $10 and make my retreat. My civic task done, and I've made some connections. supported school programs while scoring confections. This is my pre-COVID memory. Those were the good old days reverie. This year, my ballot arrived in the mail. I Googled each candidate for extensive detail, drove my ballot to the town hall receptacle, then anxiously awaited the election night spectacle.
Good morning. I'm George Goss. I have a poem to share. Out walking. Out walking this morning, from the corner of my eye, I saw a tall evergreen tree. Once past a house blocking the view, I looked up at a full tall tree, spreading out to the sky. Some places were broken and open, but it stood tall. Thought that tree and I have a lot in common. It's good to be alive. Goss. Thank you. Please join us in singing our closing hymn, Come Sing a Song with Me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I may know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me. Come dream a dream with me, that I may know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me. Come walk in rain with me, that I may know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me. Come share a rose with me, that I may know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is hard to find. And I'll bring a song of love and a rose in the winter time.
We seal our time together today, the same words from Tess Baumberger we began with. Please respond aloud after each segment with the words, we travel this road together.
From the busyness of every day, we gather once a week to remember who we are, to dream of who we might become.
We travel this road together.
As companions on this journey, we share the milestones we meet along the way. Individual moments of joy and sorrow become shared moments of comfort and celebration.
We travel this road together.
We share this journey across differences of belief and opinion because we value diversity and because we care for one another.
We travel this road together.
Today, as we take the next steps, let us notice our fellow travelers, the burdens that they carry, the songs that inspire their hearts.
We travel this road together.
As we gather in beloved community, let us open the holy havens of our hearts. Let us share the sacred places of our souls, for we are pilgrims who share a common path.
We travel this road together.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe speaking. I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who participated this morning and helped coordinate the service and for sharing. It was wonderful. And now it's time for our announcements. All events are online in the church Zoom room unless otherwise stated. Tomorrow at 3:30 will be the midday meetup connection circle. It is an informal conversation. And please note, it is a new day of the week. On Tuesday at 7 o'clock, the Social Action Committee will be meeting. On Thursday at 5:30, the Sunday Service and Music Committee will be meeting. On Friday at 10 o'clock will be the second connection circle. And this will be a facilitated discussion or activity. Next Sunday at 10:30, our minister, Joanna Lubkin, will be preaching on becoming and unbecoming.
I got a note from Andy. Yeah.
And just also a reminder that next Sunday, the estimate of giving forms are due. Next Monday, the 19th at 6:30, the Board of Trustees will be meeting. On Friday, the 23rd, is the submission deadline for our monthly newsletter, The Chimes, for our next month's edition. And on May 22nd, which is a Saturday, the Development Committee will be having a What's Your Hidden Talent show. So you are welcome to share your talent, whether it be singing, mad jokes, magic tricks. If you're interested in participating, you can contact Sandra Lingley, our Development Committee Chairperson, to sign up for the talent show. And if you have any technology questions, then you can go to our technology guru, Alicia, with questions. And just one more announcement I have is that if any member is interested in being a delegate for the upcoming General Assembly, which is being held 100% virtually, please let me know and I can work on getting new credentials. Are there any announcements that I have missed?
No, I just want to point out that the Friday Connection Circle has established a theme for this coming week and the next one on poetry. So if anyone wants to come to the group with a favorite poem, we'll be sharing them on those 2 Fridays.
The talent show is Saturday, May 22nd from 7 to 9.